The Fleischer Animation Studios were very busy in the 1930s. They started out as Out of the Inkwell Films, which featured their first animated character, Coco the Clown. Formed in 1929 by the Fleischer brothers, Max and Dave, they became Walt Disney Studios' main competitor. Max Fleischer was an inventor. He created the rotoscope, which they would use to create their fluid animation style, which no one else was doing at the time. They would film live actors, project their movements onto a piece of glass, and then put a sheet of drawing paper over the glass to trace the actors' movements. Dave himself was the model for Coco the Clown, as he had worked on Coney Island for one of the sideshow amusements. While most animation studios featured anthropomorphic animals as characters, the Fleischers built their fame on mostly human characters, like Popeye, and later, Superman. The main exception to this was Bimbo, the cartoon dog, who was the featured character in the early Fleischers' Talkertoons series of cartoons. That is, until Betty Boop showed up in the 7th entry to the series titled Dizzy Dishes. Her first appearance was a cameo and featured the character drawn with French poodle-like features, having long floppy ears and a French poodle nose.
I have to have love, but when I'm having my love, I have to have poo-poo-ba-doo-be-doo.
Fleischer told his artists that he wanted Betty modeled visually after American actress Clara Bow, nicknamed the It Girl, and her vocal stylings after Helen Kane, a popular singer-actress of the day whose signature song, I Want to Be Loved by You, contains the line boop boop a doop. Kane, whose popularity was on the downswing in 1931, sued the studio for stealing her signature style, but the judge decided that there was insufficient evidence. Betty was voiced by several voice actors, but the longest running was Mae Questel, who was also the voice of Olive Oyl for Fleischer Studios. Mae voiced the character from 1931 until 1939 in over 50 animated shorts. She then reprised her Betty Boop voiceover for a cameo in the 1988 film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Betty was a supporting character to Bimbo in 10 cartoons as a flapper girl with heart, but not much upstairs. She was called by various names like Nancy Lee or Nan McGrew. She transitioned within a year from a human canine mix to a totally human female character, and by the release of the cartoon Any Rags in 1932, Betty Boop was permanently established as a human character.
Any rags? Oh no, I don't want any rags and bottles today.
That's the same old story in the same old way. Any cat?
Her floppy ears were gone and replaced by hoop earrings, and her poodle nose had become a cute little button nose. By 1932, Betty Boop had become the star of the Talkertoons series, and she was granted her own series beginning with the cartoon Stopping the Show that same year. She was dubbed the Queen of the Animated Screen from then on. Betty Boop is widely considered one of the first and most well-known sex symbols on the animated screen. She's a symbol of the Depression era and a reminder of the more carefree days of the Jazz Age flappers. Her appeal was mostly among adults, and the cartoons, which appeared surreal, featured numerous sexual and psychological themes, especially in the 1932 Talkertoon titled Minnie the Moocher. It starred singer Cab Calloway and his orchestra through the magic of Max Fleischer's rotoscope. Betty's character was shown in that cartoon as a modern-day teen in the 1930s, at odds with her parents' traditional values. After a fight with her strict parents, Betty runs away from home with her boyfriend, Bimbo, becoming lost in a haunted cave. A ghostly walrus taken from live-action footage of Calloway sings Minnie the Moocher, joined by ghosts and skeletons. The 8 Talkertoons that came out after that all featured Betty, which led to her own cartoon starting in 1932. The cartoon Stopping the Show, released in August of 1932, marked the end of the Talkertoons and the beginning of the Betty Boop series, which lasted until 1939.
He's got eyes of blue, but I never cat for? Eyes of blue, but he's got eyes of blue, and that's my weakness now.
Betty Boop stood out from other female cartoon characters because she was portrayed as a sexy young woman. Other female cartoon characters from the same era, like Minnie Mouse for instance, were mostly shown as juvenile or funny characters rather than in a fully defined feminine shape. Betty Boop wore short skirts, high heels, a garter, and a low contoured bodice that revealed cleavage that emphasized her breasts. Male characters were always trying to check her out when she was changing or just going about her business. In the cartoon Betty Boop's Bamboo Isle, she does a hula dance while wearing nothing but a strategically arranged lei and a grass skirt. She wears the same provocative outfit in the first ever Popeye cartoon. Her girlish face was in stark contrast to her fully developed body, as she had a head that resembled that of a baby rather than an adult. Officially, Betty was only 16 years old, but attempts to threaten her virginity were shown in the cartoon Chestnuts and Boop Boop a Doop, both released in 1932. In Chestnuts, the Black King ties her up, but Betty rejects him. He then drags her off to the bedroom and says, "I will have you." The bed has other ideas, however, and runs away while Betty shouts for help through the window. Bimbo rushes to her aid and she is saved before anything happens. In the cartoon Boop Boop a Doop, Betty is a circus high wire performer who the ringmaster is lusting for. As Betty enters her tent, the ringmaster rubs her legs and threatens her job if she doesn't submit to his advances.
Do you like your job?
Betty begs the ringmaster to stop while she sings "Don't Take My Boop Boop a Doop Away." Coco the Clown hears the struggle and rushes in just in time to save Betty while battling the ringmaster. Betty's fight against sexual harassment on the animated screen made many people think of her as a feminist icon.
No, he couldn't take my boo-boo-ba-doop away.
Betty Boop's best cartoons are considered to be her first 3 years because of her jazz baby character and innocent sexuality aimed at adults. But her appearances were later influenced by the National Legion of Decency and the Production Code of 1934. They imposed strict guidelines on the motion picture industry, and they placed specific restrictions on the content that could be shown in films through sexual innuendos. This had a significant impact on the Betty Boop cartoons. After the code went into effect on July 1st, 1934, Betty was no longer allowed to be portrayed as a carefree flapper, but rather a housewife or a career girl with a fuller dress or skirt. Her curly hair was gradually toned down, and she stopped wearing her gold bracelets and hoop earrings. Betty Boop's winks and shaking hips at the start of her cartoons were ordered to be removed by the new head censor, Joseph Breen. He had numerous complaints and found the introductions to be much too sexually suggestive and immoral. The cartoons were steered to a more juvenile audience, and the adult viewers gradually lost interest. The result was the decline of the series' popularity and its cancellation by 1939. A few attempts were made to bring Betty into the swing era of the late 1930s, but to no avail. Her last appearance in 1939. The series officially ended with the short Yip Yip Yippee, a one-shot cartoon that Betty didn't even appear in. It was written to fill the release schedule and fulfill the contract. Betty Boop was rediscovered by marketers in the 1980s, and Betty Boop merchandise gradually outstripped her film appearances, with many people totally unaware of her existence as a cinematic cartoon character. Much of the current products show Betty in her sexier version, and she's become more popular than ever. Sadly, her creators, the Fleischer brothers, never got to see Betty's huge success with the modern audience. I loved the strange, surreal feel that the Fleischers gave to the series, and it was very different from anything else at the time. Did you ever watch the original Betty Boop cartoons? If you did, what did you think of them? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, this is Rich from Rerun Zone, signing off.